The mining station, Alpha 7, drifted silently through the asteroid belt, its metallic hull scarred by countless micrometeorite impacts. Inside the command center, Captain James monitored the screens with tired eyes. For 3 years, humans had operated this remote outpost, extracting rare minerals from the floating rocks. "Captain, we're picking up something strange," said Lieutenant Smith, his fingers dancing across the console. The young officer had joined the crew only 6 months ago, but his skills had already proven invaluable. James walked over and studied the display. A distress signal pulsed weakly on the screen, its pattern unlike anything in their database. "Can you decode it?" "Working on it, sir." Smith adjusted several parameters. "It's definitely artificial, but the frequency modulation is alien." The word hung in the air. First contact. Humanity had always wondered if they were alone in the universe. Now, perhaps, they had their answer. "Got it," Smith exclaimed. The speakers crackled to life, and a desperate voice filled the room. Though the language was foreign, the universal translator kicked in after a few seconds. "Please ... anyone. Help us. Our ship is damaged. Life support failing. Coordinates attached. Please." James felt his heart race. This was bigger than their mining operation. This was history in the making. "How far?" "About 12 hours at maximum burn, Captain." The captain made his decision quickly. "Send a message to Earth Command. Tell them we've received an alien distress signal and are moving to investigate." He turned to his crew. "Prepare the ship for rescue operations." As Alpha 7's engines roared to life, pushing the massive vessel toward the coordinates, James couldn't shake a feeling of unease. Space was vast and dangerous. What had damaged the alien ship? Pirates? Equipment failure? Or something worse? The journey seemed endless. Every hour, they received updates from the alien vessel. The situation was deteriorating rapidly. According to their transmissions, they were traders from a peaceful confederation of worlds called the Union. Their ship had been attacked by raiders who had stolen their cargo and left them to die. "Captain, we're approaching the coordinates," announced the pilot. Tom dot through the viewport. They could see it, a sleek, silver vessel, roughly half the size of Alpha 7. Its hull showed signs of weapon damage, with several breaches venting atmosphere into space. "Life signs?" James asked. "Weak, but present. About 20 individuals," Smith reported. "Dock with them. Prepare medical teams." The docking was delicate work. The alien ship's systems were failing, and one wrong move could destroy both vessels. But Tom's steady hands guided them imperfectly. The airlocks connected with a reassuring hiss. James led the boarding party himself. As the inner door opened, he stepped into a world designed for beings not quite human. The corridors were taller, but narrower, the lighting a strange blue-green that hurt his eyes. They found the survivors huddled in what appeared to be their bridge. The aliens called themselves the Kalari, stood about 7 feet tall, with elongated limbs and pale blue skin. Their large eyes, each the size of a tennis ball, showed obvious fear as the humans entered. We asked for help," one of them said through a translation device. "You came." "That's what humans do," James replied simply. "We help those in need." As the medical team began treating the injured Kalari, James learned more about their situation. The Union was a trading alliance of 5 species, peaceful by nature. They had little military capability, relying instead on negotiation and commerce. The raiders who had attacked them were becoming bolder, striking further into Union space. "Your kindness will be remembered," the Kalari captain, who introduced himself as Dal, said weakly. "But I fear it may have marked you as targets too." James smiled grimly. "Let them come." What the Kalari didn't know, what the raiders didn't know, was that humanity had spent its entire history perfecting the art of war. Every human ship, even a mining vessel like Alpha 7, carried weapons. Every human knew how to fight. The rescue was just the beginning. Word would spread through the Union about the new species that had answered their call. And when the raiders came looking for easy prey, they would find something else entirely. They would find humanity. Asterisk. News traveled fast through the Union's communication networks. Within days, every major world had heard the story. A new species called humans had rescued a Kalari trade vessel from certain death. The Union Council convened an emergency session on the capital world of Prima. The council chamber was vast, designed to accommodate representatives from all 5 member species. The Kalari delegate, Ambassador Vel, stood before the assembly, his blue skin still showing signs of exhaustion from his journey. Honored delegates, Vel began, his voice carrying across the chamber through multiple translation devices. I bring news that may change everything. The humans who rescued our people are unlike any species we have encountered. The Morvic representative, a stocky being covered in thick fur, interrupted. Are they hostile? Should we prepare defenses? No, Vel replied quickly. They are helpful, even kind, but ... He paused, choosing his words carefully. Their ship was armed. Heavily armed. Even their mining vessel carried weapons that our military analysts say surpass anything in our fleet. A murmur ran through the assembly. The Union had always prided itself on peaceful relations. The idea of a heavily armed species offering help was both comforting and terrifying. What do they want? Asked a Thren delegate, her crystalline form catching the light. Nothing, apparently. Captain James, their leader, said they helped because it was the right thing to do. But he also warned us about the raiders. He said humanity would not stand by while innocents suffered. Back on Alpha 7, James was dealing with his own challenges. Earth Command had responded to his report with a flurry of messages. Some praised his initiative. Others worried about the implications of first contact. But all agreed on one thing: humanity needed to establish formal relations with the Union. Captain, Smith called out, we're receiving multiple distress signals. It seems the raiders have increased their attacks. James studied the tactical display. 7 Union ships had been hit in the past 48 hours. The pattern was clear. The raiders were testing the Union's defenses, growing bolder with each successful attack. Sir, we have new orders from Earth Command, the communications officer, Lisa, announced. They're sending the 3rd Fleet. Admiral Black is taking command of the situation. James felt relief and concern in equal measure. Admiral Black was known for her tactical brilliance, but also for her aggressive approach to threats. The 3rd Fleet consisted of 15 warships, each one capable of devastating firepower. The rescued Kalari captain, who had remained on Alpha 7 for medical treatment, overheard the conversation. Your people are sending military vessels? Yes, James replied honestly. We don't tolerate bullies. But the Union? We have tried to avoid military escalation for generations. Violence only breeds more violence. James turned to face the tall alien. Sometimes, Dahl, the only way to stop violence is to show strength. These raiders attack you because they think you're weak. They need to learn otherwise. 2 weeks later, the 3rd Fleet arrived. The Union monitoring stations detected them long before they reached Prima, and panic spread through the government halls. 15 human warships, each one bristling with weapons, approaching their capital. Admiral Black's flagship, the Thunderbolt, was a masterpiece of human engineering. 2 kilometers long, armed with railguns, missile pods, and energy weapons that the Union scientists couldn't even properly classify. The other ships in the fleet were equally impressive. Union Council. Admiral Black's message was broadcast across Prima. I am Admiral Black of the United Earth Navy. We come in peace, but we are prepared for war. The raiders who prey upon your ships will learn that the Union now has friends. Friends with teeth. A council meeting that followed was tense. Some members wanted to reject human military aid, fearing it would lead to an arms race. Others saw it as their only hope for survival. Ambassador Vell spoke passionately. My cousin was on that damaged ship. He lives because humans answered our call. Now they offer to protect us. Yes, their methods are different from ours, but can we afford to refuse? The vote was close, but the council ultimately agreed to accept human protection. Within hours, Admiral Black had deployed her fleet across Union space, establishing patrol routes and checkpoint stations. The first test came sooner than expected. A raider fleet, emboldened by past successes, attacked a Union colony world. They expected easy pickings. They found the human destroyer Wolverine instead. The battle lasted exactly 17 minutes. The Wolverine's captain offered surrender 3 times. The raiders refused each time, confident in their numerical superiority. It was their last mistake. Asterisk. The raider fleet consisted of 12 ships, each one previously considered a serious threat by Union standards. They had terrorized peaceful traders for years, taking what they wanted and leaving destruction in their wake. Their leader, Captain Rex, had never lost a battle. The Wolverine hung alone in space above the Union colony, a single human destroyer against a dozen raider vessels. On the colony below, millions of Union citizens watched their screens in terror, certain they were about to witness a massacre. Raider vessels. Captain Wilson of the Wolverine broadcast calmly. This is your final warning. Power down your weapons and prepare to be boarded. You have 30 seconds to comply. Rex laughed, his harsh voice crackling over the communication channel. 1 ship against 12? Humans are either brave or stupid. Attack formation. The raider ships spread out, attempting to surround the Wolverine. It was a tactic that had worked countless times before against Union vessels. But the Wolverine wasn't a Union vessel. Time's up, Wilson said simply. Weapons free. What happened next would be remembered in Union history as the 17-minute lesson. The Wolverine's railguns spoke first, accelerating tungsten rounds to percentages of light speed. 2 raider ships simply ceased to exist, their hulls shattered into countless fragments. The remaining raiders opened fire, their energy beams and missiles streaking through space. The Wolverine's point defense systems activated, creating a web of laser fire that destroyed every incoming missile. The energy beams struck the destroyer's shields, which absorbed the damage with ease. Impossible, Rex muttered, watching his tactical display. No ship can have shields that strong. The Wolverine's missile pods opened, releasing a swarm of guided weapons. Each missile selected its own target, dodging and weaving through defensive fire with artificial intelligence that adapted in real time. 4 more raider ships died in nuclear fire. On Prima, the Union Council watched in stunned silence. The Thren delegate's crystalline form flickered with distress. Such violence, such terrible efficiency. Ambassador Vell responded quietly, but noticed Captain Wilson offered them surrender. 3 times. They chose this fate. The battle continued. The Wolverine moved like a predator among prey, its engines pushing it through maneuvers that should have torn any ship apart. Human engineering had solved problems the Union had never even attempted to address. Rex's ship, the largest of the raider fleet, tried to ram the Wolverine in desperation. Wilson's crew laughed. The destroyer's bow-mounted plasma cannon, charged with a high whine that was audible even through the vacuum of space via electromagnetic emissions. Beam that followed was visible from the planet's surface, a line of pure energy that cut Rex's ship in half lengthwise. The 2 halves drifted apart, spilling atmosphere and debris. 5 raiders remained. They tried to flee. Pursuit course, Wilson ordered. The Wolverine's engines flared, and the destroyer leaped forward at acceleration that made the Union physicists recalculate their equations. One by one, the fleeing ships were disabled. Not destroyed disabled. Surgical strikes that destroyed engines and weapons while leaving life support intact. Raider vessels, Wilson broadcast again. You are defeated. Surrender now, and you will be turned over to Union authorities for trial. Continue to resist, and we will finish what you started. This time, the surrender came immediately. White flags appeared on every surviving ship's identification beacon. The entire battle had taken 17 minutes from first shot to final. Surrender. Admiral Black arrived with 3 more ships. Hours later to oversee the prisoner transfer. The Union peacekeeping forces, such as they were, took custody of nearly 300 Raider crew members. Admiral, the Morvic representative, approached Black at the transfer station. Your demonstration was ... effective. But surely such violence will only encourage more attacks. Black turned to face him, her expression stern but not unkind. Representative, let me explain something about human nature. We tried pacifism once. It nearly led to our extinction. We learned that there are 2 types of beings in the universe, those who respect strength and those who exploit weakness. She gestured toward the captured raiders being led away. These beings exploited your weakness for years. Now they've learned that the Union has allies who won't tolerate such behavior. Word will spread, and if more come seeking revenge, then they'll find the entire Third Fleet waiting for them. And trust me, the Wolverine was holding back. The Morvac's fur stood on end. Holding back? Captain Wilson used only conventional weapons. No antimatter torpedoes, no singularity generators, no cascade missiles. We showed restraint. The Union representatives exchanged worried glances. If this was restraint, what would full human warfare look like? Asterisk word of the Wolverine's victory spread through space like wildfire. The Raider clans, loosely organized groups that had plagued the Union for decades, called an unprecedented gathering. On a hidden base built into a rogue asteroid, over 50 Raider captains met to discuss the human threat. The base's main hall was rough-hewn rock, reinforced with stolen Union technology. Captain Core, the most successful Raider leader, stood at the center of the gathering. His scarred face showed years of violent victories. Brothers, Core began, his voice echoing off the stone walls. For generations, we have taken what we wanted from the weak Union. Now these humans dare to interfere with our rightful claims. Rex was a fool, another captain shouted. He should have run when he had the chance. Rex was proud, Core corrected. And pride is not foolishness. But these humans, they fight differently. We must adapt or die. The assembly argued for hours. Some wanted to avoid human-protected space entirely. Others called for a massive united strike to drive the humans away. Finally, Core raised his hand for silence. We will test them, he declared. Not with 1 fleet, but with 3. Simultaneous attacks on different Union worlds. Let's see if these humans can be everywhere at once. Meanwhile, on the Thunderbolt, Admiral Black was already anticipating such a move. She stood in the Strategic Command Center, studying a 3-dimensional map of Union space. They'll try to stretch us thin, she told her senior officers. It's what I would do in their position. Captain Wilson, who had been promoted after his victory, suggested we could call for reinforcements from Earth. Already done, Black replied. The 5th and 7th fleets are en route. But until they arrive, we need to make the Raiders think we're weaker than we are. A trap? Wilson asked, understanding dawning in his eyes. Exactly. We'll leave the colony at Sigma Point, apparently undefended. Only the mining vessel Alpha 7 will be there. When the Raiders attack, thinking they've found our weakness. We spring the ambush, Wilson finished. 3 days later, Corps' plan went into motion. 3 raider fleets, each consisting of 20 ships, launched simultaneous attacks. 2 fleets found human destroyers waiting for them. The battles were brutal but brief, with the raiders learning that numbers meant nothing against human firepower. But at Sigma Point, a 3rd fleet found only Alpha 7 orbiting the peaceful colony. Captain Corps himself led this attack, confident he had found the gap in human defenses. A mining ship. Corps laughed. They insult us with a mining ship. James, still commanding Alpha 7, opened the channel. Raider fleet, this is Captain James of the mining vessel Alpha 7. You are ordered to withdraw immediately. The raiders' laughter could be heard over the communications. A mining ship ordering a war fleet to retreat? It was absurd. Prepare to be boarded, miner, Corps sneered. We'll take your ship as a trophy. James smiled, though the raiders couldn't see it. Computer, execute Operation Anvil. Space around Sigma Point suddenly came alive. What had appeared to be asteroids revealed themselves as human ships, their stealth systems deactivating. The 3rd Fleet had been hiding, powered down and silent. For 2 days, 15 warships materialized around the Raider fleet. The Thunderbolt itself dropped its cloak directly above Corps' command ship. Captain Corps, Admiral Black's voice was cold as space itself. You are surrounded and outgunned. Your other fleets have already been destroyed. Surrender now, or join them in death. Corps' pride warred with his survival instinct. He looked at his tactical display, counting the weapons locked onto his ship. 117 target locks from the Thunderbolt alone. If we surrender, Corps said slowly, what happens to us? You face trial for your crimes. The Union will decide your fate, but you'll be alive to face it. The silence stretched for long seconds. Then, one by one, the raider ships powered down their weapons. A great raider war, as the Union would later call it, ended not with a massive battle, but with a simple recognition of reality. The humans were simply too powerful, too prepared, and too willing to use force when necessary. As the prisoners were transferred, Dal approached James on Alpha 7. Your people? They turned a mining ship into bait for a trap. James nodded. Every human learns tactics and strategy. It's part of our education. We hope for peace, but prepare for war. The Union will want to learn these ways. And we'll teach you, James promised. But remember, strength without wisdom is just another form of tyranny. 6 months had passed since the defeat of the Raider Confederacy. Prima bustled with activity as delegates from across the galaxy arrived for the historic signing ceremony. The Union-Earth Alliance Treaty would formally bind humanity and the 5 Union species together in mutual defense and cooperation. The Grand Assembly Hall had been renovated to accommodate human delegates. Admiral Black stood beside Ambassador Chun, Earth's newly appointed representative to the Union. Across from them, the Union Council had gathered in full ceremonial dress. Before we sign, the Thren delegate began, her crystalline form pulsing with concern. We must address the fear that exists among our people. Your strength saved us, but it also terrifies us. Chun stepped forward. He was an older man, chosen specifically for his diplomatic experience and calming presence. Fear is understandable. Humans have that effect, even on each other sometimes. But let me tell you something about humanity that might ease your concerns. He gestured to a holographic display that materialized in the center of the room. It showed Earth, blue and green and beautiful. We nearly destroyed ourselves 3 times, Chun continued. Nuclear war, environmental collapse, and bioweapons. Each time, we pulled back from the brink because we learned something crucial: strength must serve a purpose greater than dominance. The display changed, showing human hospitals, schools, and research stations across Earth. We put our aggressive nature to work building instead of destroying. We channel our warrior spirit into protecting those who cannot protect themselves. Yes, we are dangerous, but we choose to be dangerous to those who would harm the innocent. Ambassador Vel stood. The rescued Kalari have been living among humans for months now. Gal, please share your observations. Gal, now fully recovered and serving as a cultural liaison, addressed the assembly. I was terrified when I first saw human weapons, but then I watched them use those same technologies to repair our ship, to heal our wounded, to replant forests on damaged worlds. They are builders who know how to fight, not fighters who sometimes build. The Morvok representative raised a concern. What about the raiders we captured? The humans insisted on helping to reform them rather than simply imprisoning them. Admiral Black spoke up. We've dealt with our own criminals for millennia. We learned that pure punishment creates recurring problems. These raiders attacked because they saw no other path to prosperity. We're teaching them there are better ways. The transformation of the raider prisoners had indeed been remarkable. Given the choice between lengthy imprisonment and participation in reconstruction programs, most had chosen to work. Under human supervision, former raiders were helping to rebuild the colonies they had once terrorized. Not all of them reformed, the Morvok pressed. No, Black admitted. About 10% remained violent and unrepentant. They're in maximum security detention. But 90% success rate is worth celebrating, don't you think? The discussions continued for hours. Trade agreements, technology sharing, military cooperation, every aspect was carefully negotiated. The humans offered to share medical technology and agricultural advances. The Union offered access to their vast network of peaceful trading partners. Then came the moment everyone had been waiting for. Captain James was called forward as a witness. He had been the first human to make contact, the one who started it all. Captain James, the senior Kalari delegate, addressed him. Your rescue of our ship changed history. Do you have anything you wish to say before we formalize this alliance? James looked around the room at the various species gathered there. When I answered that distress call, I didn't know I was making history. I just knew someone needed help. That's what being human means. We see suffering and we act. Sometimes that means fighting. Sometimes it means healing. Always, it means choosing to help when we can. He paused, then continued. The Union feared our weapons, but you should know something. Every human ship that came here, every weapon we brought, they were all volunteers. No one was ordered to help you. They came because it was right. The treaty was signed with great ceremony. Each species had its own tradition. The Kalari sang, the Thren chimed, the Morvok drummed, and the humans simply shook hands with everyone present as the celebration began. Admiral Black found herself standing beside Dal, looking out at the stars through a massive viewport. Your people have given us hope, Dal said quietly. For the first time in generations, our traders can fly without fear. And your people have given us purpose, Black replied. Humans need something to protect, something to fight for. You've given us a cause worth serving. The stars twinkled peacefully above Prima, but now they held no fear for the Union. Somewhere among those stars, human ships patrolled, standing guard against any who would threaten the peace.